Hi everyone, it's Kim from Expressions of the Universe with a special report to talk about Jupiter, the planet of luck, good fortune, and abundance, moving into Scorpio, the sign of death, rebirth, hidden things, the occult, darkness, control, power, other people's money, all of those things that we sometimes don't look at. We keep them hidden. So first, let me talk about where Jupiter has been. Jupiter has been in Libra for the last 13 months. That was supposed to bring balance and harmony and love into our lives. A lot of us expected that new relationships were going to start. They'd be the relationships that would last forever. It's also about justice. We were going to see justice be brought down throughout the world. What did we get? Because it has been nothing but a chaotic roller coaster ride for the last 13 months. What I think is happening with Jupiter, instead of it bringing us these things that we think that we should be getting, I think it's actually shining the light on areas that we haven't looked at for a while. So in the case of Jupiter in Libra, it was shining the light down on the things that needed justice shown down on. It showed us where we're out of balance. It showed us where we are lacking in fairness. It showed us where maybe we needed to instill more love in our relationships. I put on my glasses. I took a lot of notes when I was doing some research on Jupiter and the planets that it moves into. So I'm going to kind of read right from this. Now, I'm having some laptop charger issues, and my charger is sparking. I don't know, I think that's a sign, but I did just order another one to be delivered tomorrow, so I'm kind of freaking out about that. Also, the Jupiter in Libra, it was about democracy, revolution, protest, humanitarian rights. So it was shining the light down on all of these different issues. So sorry, I'm trying to do this without my glasses, but I'm having a little bit of a hard time. Now, Scorpio, Jupiter will be moving into Scorpio on Tuesday, October 10th, and it will be in that transit until November 8th of 2018. That doesn't go without saying that it will go retrograde for a little bit, and that will have a whole completely different energy. This is occurring in the 12th house. So at the moment, on October 10th, 9:30-ish Eastern Standard Time, it will be at 0 degrees in the 12th house. That's about karma. 12th house is also the guardian angel. It's protection. So we're kind of getting that protective bubble, that zero bubble. If you watch my sensei's videos about step astrology and the different degrees, 0 is about putting up protection. So we really want to think about that this week, putting up our protection, putting up our boundaries. Scorpio's ruled by the 8th house. It's the occult, birth, death, sex, transformation, mystery, merged energy, bonding at the deepest level. It's other people's money, which is kind of related to work because we're working for other people to make money. But it's also how other people are treating our money, our investments. It's real estate, inheritances, intimacy, shared money and property amongst other people. So with this 12th house placement, it's about karma, healing, endings, institutions, and spirituality. So this Jupiter is on the cusp of the 11th house, which is teams, friends, groups, society, social justice, science, and future advancement of the world, rebellion, humanitarian issues, sudden events. So we are going to see a lot of different things coming about regarding that. What we could expect also too is the light is going to be shown down where there is corruption in money. I think that's banking, and I wrote that in my notes. Sex scandals, different things of the occult and spirituality. The light will be shown on these things. Are we going through dark days? We possibly could. There could be even more chaos. But I want to really stay positive to the possibilities of what could be coming about with this transit. The one great thing with the Jupiter moving into Scorpio, starting out in the 12th house, that is that guardian angel, that bubble of protection. It'll quickly move into the 11th house, which is about personal gain and humanitarianism. So I think a lot of people in the collective will be coming together for more humanitarian issues and rights. And the personal gain thing does have me a little concerned because there's so much greed out there. We know that the financial system is extremely corrupt. We're not benefiting from it. Only that top 1%, or maybe even the top 5%, benefit from it. And we all have to follow like sheep, working for these people. We are basically slaves to the top 1%, if you think about it. That's why if you can do something to help yourself be self-employed, be your own boss, that's probably the best way to go, because then you don't have anybody to answer to. But the personal gain thing is, I think we're going to see a lot more greed come out. Now, the last time Jupiter was in Scorpio, I believe was 2005 through 2007, something like that. It was during that transit. And I try and think back because my day job is in the financial sector. I've been in mortgage banking for 35 years. I've worked for the government trying to suss out fraud and bad banking policies and all of the things that greed comes from. So I'm kind of on the light walker side of this ugliness. For a good period of time, I was working for the evil side, but not because I wasn't doing anything evil. It was just that that's what I was doing. I was making loans, making mortgage loans, trying to give people homes. I thought that I was doing something good, but then when you see the ugliness of the banking industry and how corrupt it really is, and the things that the banks force their employees to do in order to make more money for the banks, I was luckily chosen to go on the other side of it. And I find myself extremely fortunate to be in that position of quality and compliance and trying to uphold integrity within the banking system. So I'll be curious to see how that plays out this year. I know that I'm already feeling the energies and things have been insane. But think about it. The light is going to be shown on these situations. That's what Jupiter does for us. It brings us luck, good fortune, and abundance. Yes, it does do that. But it hasn't been working the way that it typically does. And I just think that it's because we're in crazy times that instead of it bringing us to these situations, it's just really shining the light on the areas that we need to see. So Scorpio's energy, it's intense. It's about hidden and buried things, psychic intuition, the occult, death and rebirth, so endings and new beginnings. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a lot of celebrity deaths this possible year, even though it's not a year of endings. Secrets, it is ruled by water. That's all about the emotions, but this is a very dark emotional energy. Sex, the reproductive organs, obsessions, passion, jealousy, vengefulness, manipulativeness, people trying to manipulate each other, control issues, and power. Yes, that is the Scorpio energy. So how will Jupiter, the planet of luck, shine its light during this Scorpio transit? So when I think about the coming year of 2018, and I think about this birth, rebirth, so 2017 numerology-wise equals a 1, which is all about new beginnings and birth. The 2016, that was a number 9, that to me was all about endings. So 2018, the sum of that equals a 2, and the number 2 is the most feminine of all the numbers, and it's the most underestimated, especially when it comes to power and strength. So that is also symbolic of this Scorpio energy. Number 2, though, is very gentle, tactful, diplomatic, forgiving, and understanding. So we need to find that energy. And number 2 always likes to keep the peace and avoid confrontation as much as possible. Also, too, with this energy being about teams and social gatherings and people as a collective, this is the coming together of two sides, I feel. So Jupiter, he was the king of the gods. He's ruler of Sagittarius, actually, which is all about tolerance and acceptance. And he seeks insight through knowledge. This planet is all about luck, but it's also about morality, gratitude, hope, and the law of possibilities. Humor, goodwill, and mercy. The negative side is blind optimism, excess, overindulgence, and irresponsibility. So what's interesting about this is with Scorpio also ruling sex and our sexual organs and those dark places, I think that there could be, kind of like a new sexual revolution, so to speak, but not in a good way, because that negative side is about obsessions and jealousies and overindulgences and excess. The Jupiter placement is also how we express our generosity. So the particular placement of Jupiter in your own chart expresses how generous you are in the world. This could be a type of healing for the collective, and it puts their minds and energies towards that healing for the collective. And I'm trying to be without the glasses, but it just doesn't work. Science and research could excel during this transit. Can't even read my own notes. Isn't that horrible? And Scorpio is so serious. And I know a lot of you think I am so serious, but I'm actually I think I'm pretty funny. You don't really see it, but I'm a total goofball. I do the weirdest things just for my own laughter and enjoyment. And I wish that you could see that side of me. Those of you who know me know that I can be quite the weirdo sometimes. I guess maybe that's that Gemini, the dual. You know, I've got the serious side, and then I've got the side. Anyway, what is really interesting too about this Jupiter in Scorpio, I'm seeing a lot of false prophets and cult leaders coming forth. And, you know, right now, I think like during this summer, a lot of different people are following different spiritual leaders. However, not all of them are good. This also includes religious leaders. You could be seeing all different kinds of crazy new religions and things popping up all over the place. So be extremely discerning. The light will expose these false prophets and these really shitty religious and spiritual leaders. You know, it's so interesting. The whole Joel Osteen thing, I think we're already seeing a precursor to that. So here you got this guy living in this ridiculous mansion. I don't know if you've ever seen the pictures of his home, the size of his church. Yes, he has built something enormous that his father started for him. However, when Hurricane Harvey hit down in Houston, he closed his friggin' church doors to his parishioners. They needed a safe harbor. He closed his doors. And then he was shamed by social media to open those doors and help his people out. And then what did he do? He passed around the collection plate. Are you friggin' kidding me? So this is what I'm talking about. That has to go with religious leaders. The church, you know, same exact thing is, you know, stop being sheeple. Stop following these ridiculous, archaic means. I know I don't mean any disrespect to any of you that are extremely religious. I respect that. We all need a way to feed our souls, but, you know, learn to think for yourself. And when people are so desperate and so lacking in faith and hope about their situation, they become easy prey to these false prophets, to these cult leaders, and to these religious leaders that are capitalizing on your pain. Now, I will say this, you know, I follow a lot of different people because I like the information that they give out, but it's not like I will follow every single word that they say and I live and breathe, you know, what are they going to do or say next? I have a mind of my own. I am very discerning about what I hear. Things that I like, I will feel it right in here. I'll feel it in the core. It's like those aha moments. So if something rings true for you, then that's great. Then that is for you. But, you know, be your own person and be extremely discerning and watch the news, because we're going to see a lot of light shown on those different things, and we're gonna start to see like some of those Jim Joneses come out, and who are the other cult leaders. I can't even think of their names because I really just, it's eluding me right now, but you will see some crazy shit coming out in the news. Also too, with Scorpio representing sex and reproduction, we're going to see a lot of social issues. Women's rights are going to be highlighted. Planned Parenthood highlighted. Birth control highlighted. So you've got these people in power. This Scorpio energy is all about power, trying to take away human rights. Don't be surprised if Roe v. Wade gets challenged again. This is something that keeps coming up, especially with the midterm elections in 2018. Be extremely discerning on who you vote for, but make sure you do get out and vote, because your voice matters, and we are the ones that are putting these ridiculous politicians into office. So we're going to, be exposing everything behind what people's motives are as far as birth control, the church, Planned Parenthood. Nobody should have any say over a woman's reproductive system. They shouldn't. It should be our choice. I'm not saying, that I am actually a proponent of some of those choices, but you still need to be given the choice. No man, no woman, no church, no religion, nobody should tell you what you have to do with your body, what you can or you cannot do. So we're going to see a lot of that highlighted during this transit. Power and money, real estate, mortgages, banking, and corruption. Once again, it may not be so much highlighted right now, but I would expect after this transit more crap coming out in the housing industry, in the banking industry. We already see it kind of creeping up again, that banks and those bankers, that top 1%, they're trying to go back to the tactics that led us up to the crash in 2008. Now, what's interesting about that is it came on the heels of the last Jupiter and Scorpio transit. It shone the light on those areas. All of these things started coming out right at the end of 2007. Well, I would say second quarter of 2007, things started popping up. The Bernie Madoff. Rumors were going around that corrupt activities were occurring, but it took almost an entire year afterwards for it to really blow up. We could be having the same thing again. I know that the lending laws have been loosened up again, and things are starting to go all willy-nilly, like lending people money that really cannot afford to be lent money. And yes, banks need to produce loans and lines of credit in order to stay in business. This is how they do it, but they're giving it to people that shouldn't be given to. And it's really just a greed thing. It's because their profit margins continue to grow and continue to grow, and they want to do better than they did the previous year. Like, when becomes enough? And I think, a lot of this Jupiter and Scorpio energy, maybe we need to have it shoved in our faces once again so that we can say, when is enough? It just kind of goes to show, too, about the economy with the prices of gas and different commodities that we need on a daily basis. Electricity and water, the prices just continue to grow for the sake of the profit margin, and you have to ask, when becomes enough for them to profit? Like, it's ridiculous, because we, the workers of the world that are only getting maybe a 2 to 3% raise per year, we cannot make up that gap for the increase in inflation, and so that these companies can have, a higher profit margin. I could go on and on and on about this, but I'm going to stop there, because the next thing that I really think we're going to see a lot of sex scandals, the light being shown on sex scandals. This also talks about human trafficking, celebrity scandals. What's interesting too is, Chris Cornell, the lead singer of Soundgarden, and Chester Bennington, lead singer of Linkin Park, both apparently committed suicide this year. However, what is really interesting, and it's rumored that they were both murdered, and Chester Bennington was the godfather of Chris Cornell's children, and vice versa. All right, so they both, because of early child abuse, they both had foundations about child abuse, human trafficking, and it has been rumored that they were both about to expose something huge in human trafficking and child sexual abuse amongst celebrities, politicians, and big bankers. There is an island in the Virgin Islands owned by a Jeffrey Epstein, who has been jailed for pedophilia. He is a multi-billionaire. He is friends with the Clintons. He's friends with Donald Trump. He's friends with Alan Dershowitz. A lot of very high-profile people that he has flown down on his private pedophilia jet to his island to have sex with underage children, underage people, whether it be male, female. I don't know all of the details about that because that just really makes me extremely sad about this. However, what's interesting is, so Donald Trump knows this information about the Clintons. Why didn't he use it in his campaign against Hillary? And it's because he's tied to Jeffrey Epstein as well. Now, also, too, with these pedophilia charges against Jeffrey Epstein, he spent a very short amount of time in jail, I think about 2014, for solicitation of underage people. He was only sentenced to 18 months, and he spent a total of 13 months in jail, which is really nothing. He is a registered sex offender, plus also he was given the privileges of leaving the jail various times so that he can go and conduct business. Like, who gets that? It's because of the ties that he has to all of these people in the top 1%. So I think we possibly could be seeing a lot of light being shown down in this sector of kink and darkness, human trafficking, and you'll be surprised at the celebrities that whose light is going to be shown on, that they are all a part of this. And then going back to Chris Cornell and Chester Bennington, like I said, it's been rumored that they were about to expose this, and that is why they were murdered. There's a lot of different information out there about that, and maybe that'll be for another topic of discussion. Oh, also too, playing in that whole entire human trafficking. So I said it was celebrities, politicians, big bankers, but also the media. Because now, when you try and find information online or in articles about this Jeffrey Epstein, his secret sex island down in the U.S. Virgin Islands, and who it's linked to, now we're getting counter reports of it not being true. The whole Chester Bennington and Chris Cornell issue with the possible murders is being discredited, and that's because the media also plays a huge part in this human trafficking issue. Pizzagate, the Hillary Clinton pizza shop Watergate thing, where one of her interns was murdered, is also tied to this Jeffrey Epstein thing. So check into that. I'm not lying. So also too, part of this Jupiter and Scorpio, and I talked about excessiveness and obsessions and passion, it's going to have this energy of more. So more greed and more of everything. And the retrograde, when Jupiter goes retrograde in this Scorpio, it's actually going to put us into an introverted state of mind. It's going to allow us to take a deep look into what is not working in our lives. The Scorpio retrograde should allow us to see what we have refused to look at and transform our futures from it. So I think that is ending this on a pretty good note. We can use this energy to our benefit, to help out humanity, to stop the corruption in big banking, also to squash all of these false prophets, these religious leaders. I feel really sorry about people that are caught up in these things, but what you really want to pay attention to for your own personal self is the greed, the obsession, the jealousy, the vengefulness, the need for more and more and more. Because when we're living in that energy, we're only feeding into this corruption. So I will be ending this on that note and looking forward to see if my predictions are correct and to see what this year has in store for us. I think I'm just going to maybe crawl into my Cancer rising crab shell and stay hidden for the rest of the year until Jupiter moves into Sagittarius next November 9th. Until then, I'll see you. Thank you for watching, and stay tuned for more wisdom from Expressions of the Universe. Bye.